What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and talk about what the technicals are showing for Tesla, what the share price may do for the near-term future, and I'm going to answer the question: is Tesla about to explode? And before I break anything down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner, so don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. And not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is you could always sell these 12 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some Tesla shares for free. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 6 days, so please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So Tesla's up 3.6% for the day, made a very nice move. I want to actually talk about one of my previous videos that I actually uploaded and actually show you guys where I actually made a bit of a mistake and where I corrected the mistake. So I uploaded this video on Thursday. It's called my Tesla stock Friday prediction. And I was actually right about Tesla getting a nice push to about that 300 range. But I also predicted that after 300, we could get a big rejection. And I did think that it's very possible that a lot of the bears would come back and they were actually trying to trick everyone, so to speak, because it was kind of resembling more of like a bull trap. And that's not what ended up happening. So when I was watching the stock early in the morning, I noticed that we were seeing very strong volume. Tesla was looking pretty bullish, and I saw that it was very unlikely it would actually drop to that same degree. So that's why I uploaded the second video right. I was very close to the market open time, maybe like 10, 20 minutes after the market opened. I uploaded this and I talked about why Tesla looks stronger than expected. And I did talk about Tesla pushing to about 300 and actually holding that range for the majority of the day. And that is what ended up happening. Now, when it came to me making that mistake, I want to talk about why on earth sometimes the market does things that you least expect, especially because of the fact that there are lots of fake outs that end up happening. So, if you look at the options chain for the overall market, I wasn't alone when thinking that the market could get a big rejection because tons of institutions, they actually came out and started to buy a bunch of puts, and max pain for the SPY was actually at 397. So it was very interesting to see that happen, and you could see that the bears got absolutely destroyed today. Almost a million puts out of the money. There were way more puts than calls that ended up being bought. And on top of that, I used historical trends, historical data, historical price action, not to mention the fact that it was a Friday, and Fridays tend to be big days of sell-offs. I used all that to come to that conclusion of us most likely getting that rejection, but my opinion ended up changing in the morning, which is why I uploaded a follow-up video early today. So that's essentially what ended up happening, and Tesla did hold up pretty darn well. So if you look at this from a more specific time zone, you could see right over here, nice gap up. Tesla actually pushed up pretty well. And we ended up pushing to this key resistance level just like this. And you guys can see this 295 range I was talking about, that how it really reacted to this. We pushed above it, came down, retested it, then we pushed all the way up, going very close to that $300 level of resistance I mentioned earlier. And you guys can clearly see it. That's what Tesla ended up doing. So the real question is Tesla now just going to kind of like explode, go to like 310, 320, $340 a share? Is it about to do that, or are we not going to do that? And that's where I really want to actually stress that it's important to understand the current events in the economy, to understand what's about to happen to Tesla. So from a technical standpoint, right here, we can see Tesla's respecting this uptrend, and it does look like it's going to be more bullish than bearish overall from a very long-term perspective. But now that we got that bounce, the question is this a fake out, or is this going to be another big rally indicator? So here's my answer to that. It really depends on what we're about to see on Tuesday. And I believe that next week is going to be one of the most important weeks of the year because CPI is coming out for the month of, I believe it's for August. So that's going to be very important because we want to see to what degree did we see the accepted inflationary measure known as CPI actually go down. If CPI does go down, it actually shows a very nice decrease, and it really shows that CPI has peaked already in the past and starting to come down. The market will be a lot better, in a much better position. But if CPI is still high, if the inflationary measure is still high and the market doesn't like that, it's not going to be a good sign whatsoever, and the market could end up coming down a little bit more. So, a lot of people have been talking about how near the end of the year, they believe Tesla, the overall market, are going to break their lows and make a new low. The truth is, we can't confirm that just yet because there are many factors that can influence that. And as of right now, I'm not seeing that once we get CPI to come out. Now, if we do end up coming down, kind of filling this gap, we want to retest this trend line and we want to get a bounce off of it, because if we don't bounce off this trend line, then things could actually go parabolic from there to the downside. So if we see Tesla end up tanking near FOMC, just for example, down to like 260, 250, for instance, that would not be a good sign. That could be an indication that Tesla will come a little bit lower than this low right over here. Now, do I see that being very likely? The answer is no. I think it's very unlikely that happens, but global situations and global events could actually trigger a move like that when we least expect it. And that's the reason why we have to be prepared. So, for example, what could trigger that? Well, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of tension in Taiwan right now. And I really hope that nothing really happens. I really hope that we don't get some sort of big invasion, just like big people are seeing, big institutions are maybe anticipating. I really hope it doesn't happen. But if that were to happen, that would be very bad for the USA, our economy, because we depend heavily on Taiwan for semiconductor chips and other important parts for big uh, production lines and tech companies. So it's not going to be very good if that happens. It's going to hurt the US immensely. And that could be just an example of a catalyst. We are also seeing a lot of major lockdowns in China, which could affect earnings for big companies as well. Once again, it hasn't really spread to Shanghai as of right now. It's not affecting Tesla as badly as it did before. So right now, I'm still kind of on the edge. I'm not like super, super, how should I say, bullish, so to speak. I do think Tesla will continue maybe on Monday with a little bit of a push up from there. I think we should actually hold up pretty well. But going into Tuesday, like I said, of next week, it's really going to depend on CPI. We need to see CPI come down for the market to really improve, because CPI is kind of like the source of the market dropping the way it is. Because CPI and PCE and inflation in general was so high, the Fed had to act, the Fed had to slow down demand in our economy, and the effects of that would affect profits, earnings, PE ratios for companies, and that's what really triggered the big changes to come. So what I want to see is CPI be very low for Tesla to continue on this rally. If CPI is still kind of high, we could still see another drop and a retest of this trend line. That's what's very important for everyone to know, that there are going to be lots of fake outs. There are going to be lots of tricks by market makers, by other institutions. And we saw clearly today a big trick came. I mean, even the best investors in the world could get tricked sometimes. No one's going to be perfect. And tons of institutions were just buying puts like crazy because they did anticipate a big rejection to come and ended up not happening to SPY. Max Pain for Tesla was at 280, and still this thing ended up pushing to the upside, doing pretty well. So my overall view is Tesla about to explode? Well, my answer to that is it could, but it really depends on CPI, right? It really depends on that. So that's really the biggest thing I'm going to be watching out for. I think the Fed meeting is not going to be as big as before now, because much of the price action is already pricing in a 75 basis point rate hike. And many big Fed constituents have already mentioned that we're pretty fixated on seeing that 75 basis point hike. Now, this could also be adjusted depending on CPI. I mean, it's possible. The Fed just tends to not really prioritize CPI as much as PCE. So it's just really something to keep in mind. I'm really, really optimistic about how this could really play out for us. Now, as far as the overall market goes, I mean, we will see a continuation of this trend. We should respect this uptrend if things look good. Now, the other factor would be external things that affect this. I'm not saying it just yet, so I'm hoping for a break above 300 for Tesla on Monday. It's very possible. If we break past that, then 305 will be on the table. Now, if somehow, let's just say CPI doesn't come out as good, and somehow the market maybe is not kind of like apprehensive about it, and we do end up coming down, we do actually have a gap down here around that 289 level. So if you were to watch Tesla, if you watch its price action, the way to study it would be you have to watch what levels is the stock holding. You could see today it was pushing up, it was hovering well above that 295 levels, respecting this uptrend, it had pretty good volume. You could see the volume was pretty good throughout the day, particularly in the very open was very strong. So that's the reason why I was pretty bullish on today when I released a video very early in the morning. So you have to watch the volume, you have to watch your technical indicators, how it reacts to the VWAP and things like that to really understand it on an intraday basis. It's much easier to do it that way. So be on the lookout for that. If this thing does end up getting a rejection off 300, watch that 295 level. All right, we want to see if this thing could respect that, hold it very well. Because if it breaks below 295, comes to like 294, 293 level, it'll most likely come down and fill this gap right over here. So overall, like I mentioned, I'm a little bit more bullish for Monday. I think we should hold up pretty okay. But where we go from there, once again, depends on CPI. Now, the last thing I want to do in this video is talk about this piece of news right over here. We could see Electric reported that Tesla plans a license to print money, aka lithium refining factory in Texas. Once again, this is amazing news for them because these commodities are needed for them to actually produce more and more batteries and keep up with the demand. We can see right here a lithium refining factory in Texas will not only improve their fundamentals, it's also going to improve many of the expenditures. It's going to make things a lot cheaper for them, especially when it comes to transporting these important minerals for their products. And this will not just cut some expenses here and there, but it also boosts the efficiency of their production as time goes on. So, once again, amazing, amazing news from Tesla. There's going to be very, very high demand for lithium for all sorts of EV companies out there. And I really think it's a great move in the right direction for them to actually, quote unquote, print money, as Elon Musk put it, as a joke. So, once again, amazing, amazing news. I'm still very bullish based off that. And also, I want to talk about something very important that Elon Musk talked about on his Twitter page. So, Whole Mars Catalog tweeted that imagine if someone just figured out nuclear fusion or something, and then we had limitless clean energy at Elon Musk. And Musk responded that fusion would be expensive energy given difficulty of obtaining and transporting source fuel, which is actually true, plus maintaining the reactor, that there is massive truth behind what he's saying. I actually agree with him there. Now, his opinion would be far better to use the sun thermonuclear reactor will with no need to refuel or service. So he does have a good point about that because of the fact that the sun is just, it's massive. It provides so much energy. We only need to utilize a small portion of that energy, which is something that Elon Musk mentioned in the past. And this really shows his vision. And I want to actually go down to something very important. I think somewhere here he said something, it's right here. So then Musk mentioned that solar panels, ground mounts, and rooftop, all right, paired with stationary batteries, will be civilization's primary source of energy as sure as day follows night. Mark these words. So, once again, Musk is hinting at us that solar panels are going to be so massive. Tesla energy is going to be huge as well, as they're going to be a big part of this. And this is going to be massive for civilization's primary source of energy. This is Elon Musk's opinion, and this is once again a very bullish catalyst for Tesla because it really shows Musk's vision and why on earth he believes this will be big for Tesla, because there's a huge demand for energy, especially given what we're seeing happening nowadays in many different countries with lots of blackouts and many natural disasters. But there is a very, very huge supply of sunlight, and Musk has argued that there's so much land that's not really utilizing it as efficiently as possible. So that's one of the main reasons as to why he believes this way. And that's one of the main reasons as to why I'm still very bullish on Tesla. So many amazing catalysts out there. The short term may be kind of choppy, maybe a little bit confusing sometimes. Some tricks may be happening here and there, some traps as well. But for the long term, you guys know we're still very, very bullish. Not financial advice, by the way. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening. I will make another video tomorrow by breaking down the SPY as well and how it actually relates to Tesla, because we are seeing a very similar trend that's being respected. And with that out of the way, I want to thank you all for listening. Please note that when I make predictions, they're not always going to be correct. No one can predict the market perfectly on a daily basis, but I tend to do my best and I tend to actually be right at least most of the time. So thank you for listening. I do it for your guys' sake because the majority of people that watch these videos prefer me just doing it, whether I am, given the perfect numbers or not. I do the best I can. So I thank all of you for your support and for being very kind the large majority of the time. Thank you all so much. I appreciate all of you. Enjoy your weekend, and I will most definitely see you guys in the next video. Tesla to the moon because the long-term future is bright, and peace out.